All right, guys. Today we're doing another coaching lesson on Gosu Academy. And today we're going to be going over CT side and basically just like we did on Anubis earlier and also a little bit how we did on Nuke, we will be focusing on what the different roles are that are normal to play and also what are basically the things you should be doing in these roles. So instead of just like we can go with the complete sort of default setup on the map. Typically you have one B player, then you have one mid player, then you have kind of two A players. So you have one who's playing towards the ramp side, and you have one who's playing towards the gap side, and then you have basically an A rotation. If you hear any steps towards A, the A rotation will typically start A. And if you don't hear any steps, he will rotate somewhere else. So that's why he's our rotation player, and he is also the guy who's going to be doing the smokes. But we'll get into all that. So basically on Vertigo, there is something on CT that I think should be a rule on any team, and it should be a rule in any pug. And this is the number one thing that I think people get wrong when they play Vertigo on CT side. And I constantly talk about this on my stream. Now I'm going to share it in a coaching lesson. I'm going to share it in the following video, of course. So basically, the way mid and B work on Vertigo is that so long as you can buy the first 5 to 10 seconds of time in any given round, you will always be able to get help. So imagine you are a mid player, and what a lot of people do is they will just come over here, they will throw a Molotov like this, it will land and block off this opening. Now the T's can't go out of ladder, they also cannot come through here. And so with this you are buying the first 7 seconds of time before the T's are able to push. Now the counter for this, I guess, for the T's is that they can turn off this Molotov, but because of the landing spot of the Molotov, the smoke will land something like this, and it will still be very uncomfortable for the T side to push through. Not only that, you also kind of show your hand a little bit, show your intention at least, by smoking off the Molo, and you trying to push through here will mean that if the mid player is smart, he will recognize they're trying to make a play on me mid, he will fall back into some more passive position, and at this moment he will still likely be able to get help. So I'm going to start talking about the A positions and why it is that these 5 to 7 to 10 seconds in every round is the most important on any CT round in Vertigo. Basically, as the rotation player, what you want to be doing is every round you will either be asking or you will be told which smoke to throw on A. So there are basically two variations that most pro teams do. Now, one had its lineup changed. For some people it might be weird, but there was like an extra thing here where you're supposed to aim. I just, for now, since this just got changed, I aim at the top of the orange stain, and then I run, and as I'm going here, I'm letting go. This smoke goes down, it bounces, lands pretty much in the middle, lands high up enough that the T's can jump up here. This is kind of not what you want as CT, because it means they can play around the smoke a bit. But at the same time, it makes it so that the T's don't have that much of a gap. Now, I think there is probably ways to throw a deeper smoke, and a deeper smoke here will be better for you. Maybe even just aiming a little bit higher. I think something like this is actually better. The lineup has changed, as I mentioned, so I'm not quite sure what is the best ramp smoke right now, but this is at least the idea. The other one is a smoke that I like to do on spawn. So when I'm starting CT side, I will be looking for a lineup. And on this spawn, for example, I go... Oh, I just moved. Hang on. Let's see if I can just kill and get a new spawn here. So on this spawn, for example... This is pretty stupid, because now I don't have a smoke. You know what? Let's just drop the idea of the smokes. Let me just Actually, let me go CT side. It's a little bit stupid what I did now, because I hit my button. Okay, we got the same spawn. But basically, I knowing the spawn lineups, I know one of the lineups is where this metal bar meets the other piece of metal. You can put your crosshair like in the bottom left corner of this. Then you can run over, and you can stop in front of this wall that's now on my back. You go out so your crosshair is like out into the window basically, and by throwing this smoke, it hits this piece of metal, it goes deep down in gap and blocks off this. What is smart about this is that the CT now can take this area pretty free, and also he can play angles through here where it's almost 100% damage and you have vision. So that's kind of interesting. I believe some people also have some lineups where they go over here and then they stand in front and then they, I don't know, they aim here and stand up or something like this. There are many different lineups. I recommend, I don't know this lineup, but I recommend just learning them from spawn. There are a ton of good videos. I've even made one myself that I could potentially link in the comments for the people who are interested. But basically, this is what most CT teams, pro teams do. Either they do the ramp smoke to block off this area, or they do the gap smoke and play around it like so. One other piece of utility I think you should learn if you are going to be playing the rotation role is putting your shoulder up on this wall and aiming bottom right of this, I don't know, block. If you jump throw here, this flash goes over and lands in such a way that if they are a little bit in the middle of ramp, they are full blind. But also if they're going into gap, they are also full blind. So this is a flash that it will never be possible to get a perfect flash because of this wall. But this is the one that the pros use. It is sort of as close as possible to be perfect. Most Ts who want to creep up ramp, they go on the left side, they'll get blind. If they go a little bit in the middle, they will get blind. If they go gap, they'll be blind. And it's only really if they walk up on the right side that they won't be blind by this flash. So worth knowing. Now, there is also a ton of other utility that's worth knowing on CT Vertigo. Maybe I'll be showing some of it later if we have time for it. But basically, these are the two grenades you want to be throwing. First, starting with one of the smokes, and then afterwards throwing this flash. As your gap player is swinging out here, he will call it when he's here, flash. He will turn around, get at his back, boom. He checks this area, and if this area is clear, he has kind of won the gap fight. And now, if there's ramp smoke or gap smoke, he can play out here. For the ramp player as well, he has kind of a few different jobs. First of all, what a lot of people like to do is either just peek here. But what some people do to be a little bit safer is just they will come and they will peek only this. Now the idea is that if you peek only towards the metal here, towards gap, when the T is trying to make an aggressive play, you can kill him and he will likely be running and looking towards gap. And if you're standing in this angle, there is no potential for the Ts to trade you. As a little bit more of an advanced move, I've even seen people play this information like so. So you jiggle here, and if you see the T go in behind this wall, it's very spammable. So you just jiggle, and when you get contact, you just move back, you spam this, and you kill him for free. Any T who is going up here will likely be doing something like this. Checking gap, checking here, and then he will start holding gap as he's moving across here. Where you can catch a shoulder and you can spam him through. This is a little bit of an advanced move, but if you're feeling like you can try. Now, the rotational player also has another very important job. And that is, as he's walking in this area, he's either doing the smoke, where he's standing still, or he's doing the ramp smoke. No matter what it is, he will be able to hear if the Ts are running over this bridge. As if I'm running on this kind of floor, it will sound like this. And as soon as I'm running over the metal bridge, it will sound like this. So it's a very different sound cue. And when you are in connector, you basically are right above this bridge. So for the rotation player, as he's doing the smoke, he will be able to call if it's an A rush or if it's not an A rush. Now, I think if the rotation player calls that it's an A rush, instead of the ramp player swinging out aggressively and trying to take fights, what he instead should be doing is for example, coming up on this yellow piece of metal and aiming here, this falls down and lands in the middle of the ramp and burns so that it slows down the T's. Now, if he manages to do this Molotov, he can, if he thinks they're going through, he can bounce a nade like this to catch the guy who's swinging up and potentially take this fight if he feels like it. But otherwise, he can go out. He can also, if you choose to do so, just use an HE instead. This also deals massive damage. I think some people even have like a jump lineup. I don't know exactly the lineup. Something like this maybe, where it goes even further down. And the idea of this is basically that instead of taking the fight, you're trying to block the A-rush with utility. You slow down the T's, and this allows the rotation player to get into a better position. What I like to do as a rotation player, if they are running fast, is just slow walk and bounce a nade on this yellow piece of metal. This pops here on the sandbag, where a lot of T's will naturally go towards if they are running. They will try to get up here in the headshot angle, and then they take huge nade damage. You can imagine pair it with this Molotov. It's really a lot of damage that is possible to do here. And other than this, the ramp player can come out here. He can go and typically teams right now are playing with ramp smoke. He can come out. He can hold this smoke. What is quite normal for the T's to do is that they will Molotov behind the small sandbag, making it really hard for him to play in this area. And if you're playing against good players on T, they will also nade away the smoke and peek. So these are things you need to be ready for if you're the gap player or if you are the ramp player. Yeah, this is basically a very simplified version of how you play A and kind of what the role is. In my opinion, for the gap player, you always want to try to get out into this area if you can. Because if there's ramp smoke and you are able to come out, what I like to do as well is I sometimes take like a slow walk step and do this. You get an extra flash in the back that will allow you to peek this and then get another flash in the back in case the T dodges the first one. Getting out into this area is a must. Because if the T is allowed to run up here and take this space fast, it can be quite challenging for the CT to take it back. As the ramp player, sometimes what you can do is, well, there's a few things you can do. One of them is you can bounce a flash like this. I will try to throw it with an HE so you can see where it pops. It pops kind of in the middle. I think even this was maybe a little bit too high. Something like this. This is something you can peek crane with for info to check if someone is coming up here in front of the ramp smoke. It can be also a way to deal with a rush. Alternatively, you can just swing down here if there's no Molotov. But really, that is the first sort of, I guess, phase of an A player, basically. First, you want to be blocking the rush. And if you manage this, you already do so much to help your CT side on Vertigo. This is basically what I started the session out by saying, and now we're coming to kind of the conclusion of it. As you can imagine, if we on A have ramp smoke, and we use our utility, for example, like this flash, to be able to check if they're coming ramp, well, now we will be able to tell after the first, let's say, 5 or 7 seconds of the round, that A is fully clear, and that the T's are either standing behind the smoke and chilling, or they are going elsewhere. This is why the role of the rotation player listening is very important, because he is able to say if they are rushing or not. In the event they are not rushing, as soon as his A players have checked to see if the T's have beaten the smoke, if the A players say the T's are coming up A, well, then the rotation player should already know, he should already be moving towards A. And in the event that the T's don't make it in front of the smoke, well, this means that the T's are doing one of three things. Either they are standing behind A smoke and waiting, or they are going mid, or they are going B. So naturally, with this first information you can gather in the first 5 to 7 seconds, you actually allow your rotation player to kind of be, instead of being a third A player, he becomes a mid player in a way, and that frees up the normal mid player to help more towards B. This is really smart because from this position on connector, you are able to basically support all positions. Like, if the T's now decide to go A, it's a matter of seconds for you to be able to come over here. You can, for example, do this HE, like I showed earlier. One flash I can also recommend if your CTs are giving up control is if you back up into this corner, you aim here with the lines meet, you crouch, and you jump throw flash. This is a flash that is out in a really dangerous space and very difficult to dodge for the T's. And it takes the headshot angle here. It takes the guy in the back here. It takes pretty much everyone, even people who are like just holding sandbags like this. It's a very good flash. Definitely recommend. Just discussing a few reactions for the rotation player in case the T's are coming A. I believe you can also get stuck here. And if you aim on the bottom left corner, like down here, jump throw. This is a way to smoke gap deep to allow your gap player to kind of retake this area if you would like. You can follow this up with just any old flash that goes like this. And this will be enough for the gap player to kind of regain control of this. There used to be a Molo lineup that was really good. It doesn't really work anymore, and I'm not really sure why. But at least there was a Molotov lineup that landed here to retake. And probably if you just aim a little bit higher now, it will accomplish somewhat the same. I'm actually not sure if this one is possible anymore. But either way, this first few seconds, like 5-7 seconds that I mentioned, it allows the rotation player to either go over and do a good A rotation and help on A. It also allows him to help mid in the sense that now, instead of the mid player playing alone, they can do some kind of a setup where, for example, the mid player is playing here holding the boost, or he's playing up here holding the boost. He can also be hiding sandbags. There's many ways where the A rotation is now the mid player. He can jiggle in and out, and if he gets contact, this is now where the mid player strikes. He helps mid, and he kills whoever shows up. Or the mid player can be freed up to go over and help B. This allows him to play, for example, quad hiding. He can play snappy hiding. He can play danger. He can be setting his teammate up with flashes. He's able to play default. There's so many things he can do. And why this connector position is so key to have on Vertigo, especially start of round, is if A says, okay, A is clear, we come over here, there's not any util on mid, there's no mid contact coming. Well, now it's possible for the rotation player to throw a flash over towards B that lands in a way where anyone who is trying to move up into B will get blind. Now, this flash is good for many reasons. It allows this player to play here and potentially jump up and check if he feels like brazen enough for this. He can also swing out and check. He can also be playing snappy, where he can peek with the flash. It allows him to play double and peeking with flash. It allows him to playing hiding default and checking with flash. It frees up the B player to, or not necessarily frees up, but it allows the B player to get like a check flash, to check for info. And this is why these first 5-7 seconds of CT side Vertigo is so damn important, because if the rotation player hears A, he can go A. If they are going contact mid early, well, the rotation player is a lot of the time also an AWP player, so he can be holding this angle and will get the free opening frag for his team. He is also able to flash for B, to check flash, and he frees up the mid player to help more towards B, which strengthens the sides. Mid on Vertigo as T is not really an area you can take super easily without using util. So when people are going mid as T, let's say they're doing some kind of a smoke like this, that will land in the middle of mid, and they want to use this smoke to run towards B, well, this is another instance where the A rotation player can do a lot. If he has a Molotov, he can simply Molotov Guardian, And now he basically blocks the B split on the mid play, and now the T's have to be behind this smoke. The teamwork as well works both ways, where the mid player, who is closer towards B, can use flashes for the A player to check, like the A rotation. The A player, like the A rotation, can also do flashes for himself to check. He can do basically a million things, and he can get so many good flashes to check mid. So this connector position is one of the key positions on Vertigo. It basically is the kind of link between all positions from one position on Vertigo. And it gives you sound information if the T's are rotating back and forth. So this is just a really super key position that will allow you to help everywhere. And that is why it's very important that the two A players, or at least one, goes and checks if the T's are beating the smoke and tries to block them from doing so in the first 5 to 10 seconds. Because if they're able to do this, well, then it frees up the rotation player to help B and mid, and still help A on pretty fast timing. And this is, basically the link between the whole map. So with that in mind, how do we achieve the staying alive of the B and the mid player for these first 10 seconds? Because I showed it a little bit earlier in the session as being so simple, like just molotoving here. And I'm going to be honest, on mid, it literally, most of the time, is that simple. If you just go here and molotov, this is 7 seconds that are blocked. This will allow you to, like let's say you go and do the molotov, you just hold the molotov, okay, no one made it through. You give up the molotov, you can fall back to Guardian, you can fall back to Sandbags, you fall back to CT, you can go closer to B, whatever it may be. This molotov alone buys enough time so that the A rotation can come and pick up mid before the T's can make a play in mid without using util, basically. And yeah, that's really why I, for example, today when I played Face It, I had one of my teammates who was playing up here in the start of the round, and the T's contacted mid, and he died. Then they smoked off the A rotation, which was me, and now they are basically 5-on-1 against the B player. And as the A rotation, there are a few things I can do. I mentioned it already. One of them could be to just Molotov Guardian. I can try to fight here. But no matter what, it will always be a situation where if the T's get entry on the mid player early, they will be able to turn off this Molotov and overwhelm the B player from two sides. That's why the mid player, in my opinion, can never die early as a lone player. If you're trying to do some kind of mid setup where the A rotation is starting here under you, or maybe this setup where one is here and one is sitting like this, or some kind of weird setup where the A rotation maybe starts with AWP here and the mid player is playing close mid, or even doing aggro moves together where, I don't know, the rifle swings across and the AWP comes and peeks the headshot angle. I don't think this is necessarily good. I'm just trying to kind of give some ideas. If you're not two guys in mid, there is, in my opinion, basically zero reason for you to play aggressive around mid. And this is one of the biggest mistakes I see on Vertigo CT side when I play pucks. The mid player is a lot of the time playing aggressive. He will also a lot of the time do this Molotov, but then he will try to take fights behind it and try to peek the guy who's deep. And it's just never worth it. The only way you can kind of push mid a CT is either predicting around where the T is not holding here, or going and winning this fight, to which the T's then anyway know you can push mid, and it kind of ruins the purpose. So playing aggressive mid as CT is something that, in my opinion, you do mid round, not early round, unless you have a play specifically designed for this. So any mid player who is sitting and watching this lesson or the eventual video, learn from this. I promise you, even in 3000 elo Faceit, if I have a 1500 elo mid player who just does not give free entry in mid, I think I will be likely to say he's doing his job. That's really all there is to it. Don't die in the first 10 seconds, and you're good. That's it. And then try to see if, even if you're playing with me and you're low elo, I will be able to call where you go. I will be able to call whose contact we are peeking on, and this will be enough to win a round. Literally, a brain dead monkey, in my opinion, can play Vertigo mid to a level that is enough in a puck at basically any elo in the game. So yeah. And it is kind of the same with the B player. I mentioned it already. The B player also is in a situation where he needs to buy the first 5-7 seconds. The thing with B though is that it is just quite a lot harder to do so. Because getting this Molotov down, kind of like, just like we have in mid, we have a small area that you can Molotov. But where in mid, Molotoving this and running through will likely not let you catch the mid player. Smoking off this Molotov will have very little risk and be a pretty default thing for TB players to do. So what a lot of TB players will do is they will start their rounds by doing this smoke and going in. Or they will be doing this smoke where they just come like this and they go in.
What about stairs? Because I like the molly stairs, and I think that the stairs, if you smoke it, I think it actually makes it harder for them to push further, and it does on the the lower molly.
Yeah. So you like Molotoving here instead?
No, up more. So what
all the way up here?
No, actually the back wall, that back wall area, yeah, right here. So I'd use the lens right around there, and it just mollies that whole area.
Let me get back to this. I kind of agree with you. I just want to go through kind of like what the possibilities are to be, and then I'll get back to it because yeah, it's kind of interesting. I agree. It's a good question. I'm happy that you asked. But basically, what a lot of B players, kind of what seems normal for a B player to do is doing a Molotov here, and it can sometimes be a little bit tricky. I have personally experimented with some crazy lineups. Even something like this kind of works. I know some people also come over here, they will do the... Yeah, I'm not a B player, I think it shows. But basically, if you have the right movement and stuff, you can go and do Molotov like this, which is also pretty safe to do. The only thing is there is kind of a counter to this, and that is if the AWP starts here on B, he might be able to see you over the wood, and he can actually wallbang you in one shot here. So that's like one way you can die. I personally, whenever I, in my career, have been playing B, I just bounce it off like this, if I want to do this Molotov. This is like a really safe way to do it, and it does get down pretty fast. But what a lot of people also choose to do is kind of doing the same as the Molotov, except they just use an HE for it instead. Because, just like I mentioned already, most teams on the default will be using like a smoke on this area, making the Molotov kind of useless. And if the Ts are wanting to rush B, and HE will slow them down, while a Molotov will only deal kind of a small amount of damage, since the Ts are probably anyway turning off the Molotov. That is why buying time on B is more difficult than buying time on mid. Because mid, if you just do the Molotov, you're basically golden. On B, it is more difficult than just that. Coming back to your question here about where to Molotov, I kind of agree. I don't think Molotoving here is the best, but I also think that if you stand far back and you Molotov here, for example, it is potentially possible for the Ts to turn off this, jump up on the box like this, and then like do movement like this, you know. And this is where this Molotov also might not be enough, because I guess in my opinion, if you do the Molotov that lands on the back wall here of stairs, while it is good, it makes it so when the Ts go through this Molotov, they are quite far up already. And what a good T-sided team will do, especially if they are rushing, is they will probably turn off this Molotov, they will jump up here, and they will flood up here really fast. And while these duels might seem good from here, what I think a good team will naturally do is they will have someone dedicated to just spamming flashes up here, like sending 2 flashes. And these flashes won't blind the T's doing this jump and coming up and fighting here, but it absolutely will blind you if you're playing default or if you're playing like double. It's more or less impossible for you to play with this Molotov in a good way if it's early round, I think. That's why I maybe personally prefer Molotoving something like this, because it's just more annoying in a way. Like, you will turn it off like this, but then you will naturally run through it, and yeah, I guess that can also happen. And then you're fighting this area. I think also part of what makes a Molotov important to start with on B is that if you Molotov here, let me make sure I don't die, and they turn it off, you will get the sound cue of them rushing very late. And when this smoke gets dropped, they can already do this movement and come over and try to fight you. If you instead Molotov down here, well, for them to make it even anywhere, they will have to turn this off earlier. And I think this is enough timing for you to, like, let's say you Molo, you stand ready with HE, now they turn it off, now you nade, and then you swing with the nade, and now you absolutely destroy the first guy who's coming up. That would be an example. But I don't think necessarily the Molotov you talked about is bad or useless. I just think my personal preference. I find it harder to rush B when I do the Molotov that lands here, basically.
Yeah, I never thought about the jumping up, so that's definitely a good point.
Yeah, I mean, it depends also, I guess, on elo, because, like, this kind of movement is not so simple. I mean, especially if there's a smoke here and stuff, and yeah, maybe you don't think about it.
Well,
but yeah.
I can tell you at my elo, the reason why I like the smoke down there is because, you know, a lot of teams, like a lot of CTs like to throw smokes where you're standing, right?
Yeah, like
where you
here,
stand
you
right
mean?
there.
Yeah.
No, up more. No, where your
Here.
feet. Yeah, right around this area, right?
Yeah.
And they throw the smoke up, and I found that when they throw that smoke up, I can actually just use it to sneak up
Yeah.
past them, right? So I usually just do that. So I find that the modeling in the bottom, if they smoke it, then they're actually creating a barrier, because at my elo they won't push it, you know, because the top smoke they might push it, the lower smokes they probably won't, like where, you know, where
Yeah.
we talked about earlier, that's not a
Mm-hmm.
bad spot, not a good spot to molly, but it's good as a smoke cover, because when they smoke it, if they smoke it, they won't push it because they're afraid of, like, you know, being exposed as soon as they come out of that smoke.
Yeah. I think that's solid reasoning as well. For sure. Like, then I think even the best place to Molotov might be something like this, so that when they turn this off, they are like full committed. Then the only worry is, again, though, if they have a dedicated guy doing these flashes, it can still be tricky for you to hold. So it's why mid has a really, really easy answer, and the answer is just Molo it. But on B, it takes more kind of, I guess it's just kind of skill, but also more experience to know what you're playing against. Like, we are discussing scenarios where you are basically heavy blocking the first 5-7 seconds of the round. But if you are a good B player, you will be able to probably predict and recognize the rounds where the T's are not gonna rush you. And in these cases, you don't need to use your Molotov. Maybe you would rather use an HE just. Maybe you will, I don't know, do something else. Like, there are many different ways you can do this on B, and that's why, again, I can't give you just one answer. These are ways you can do it with the Molo. I guess potentially, I'm maybe not that big of a fan of this, but I think, let me see the lineup here. Is it like this? Yeah, I think it is. Here's a lineup for a smoke, kind of like what you said. This is the good lineup, because the T's won't be able to push this without having bad duels. Like, if they try to creep through it here, the duel is bad. Like, you will kill them.
From so many directions too, because you could be playing up close to that board, you could be playing by white box, you could be playing farther back.
Yeah. absolutely, I completely agree. So if you're having a match where you're failing to earn these 5-7 seconds, well, here is something you can kind of fall back on. You just get stuck in this corner, not the top left corner, but like the left corner of the white part here, and just normal jump throw. This will get the smoke to land so that the T's have a hard time pushing through, and it will block these first 5-7 seconds that we discussed. One thing you maybe need to worry about is that there can sometimes be a gap here. So if you cross site late, you should be careful that someone is maybe standing on top of the box and holding you, depending on how the smoke lands exactly.
And if they push it, you can teach them not to by throwing a molly in front of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's if you really want to heavy block it, right? If you want to,
no, I'm saying if you throw it and they have a habit of still pushing, then you just throw it molly right where you're standing. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like
so
here. Yeah.
You go. Oh well, that's probably not a good idea going forward.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I understand what you mean, but it's just like this is, it's not a good scenario if you use your smoke and Molotov in the first 5-7 seconds of the round as well. Like we ideally want to use as little utility as possible, but you're absolutely right. If you want to heavy block it, so like what I call a heavy block is when you block it with so much util, there's zero chance for the T's to push. Basically, like this, what you said.
I'm not saying every round. I'm just saying that you might have to teach them once or twice. With a heavy block to kind of teach them, like, yeah, you can't just push that smoke.
I get what you mean, but again, I kind of think that it's just too heavy of a block. Like I already think if you do this smoke at the start of the round, this will be enough. Like I think, I mean, maybe at really low elo they will go through the smoke early, but like you can punish them by just holding the smoke. I think like it's, but yeah, obviously. Nothing in Counter-Strike is black and white, and if you are in a situation where you're playing some full crazy players, and they just will go up in the smoke and they will go whatever, maybe sometimes you can muller it, but I think this is kind of not something I want to teach, because it's so rare, and I would rather kind of teach a way where the whoever is playing B, watching this video or watching this lesson, will be kind of learning how to block without using all his or her utility, right? So I think even this smoke, like I showed it now, it's a way where you can kind of safely block B at the start of the round if you feel it's necessary. But if you're able to delay these 5-7 seconds by just doing, for example, a bounce nade and then jiggling with Molotov here, and if you get contact, you just drop this Molotov and you go back into stay alive. This is another option you have, like, and this is the kind of difficulty of playing B, is that there are just a million things you can do. And in mid, the answer is very straightforward, just Molo, and that should be enough.
So I do want to say, I definitely do agree with you about the not, using too much utility early. You can avoid it, because I've had higher level players tell me that. The problem is that a lot of players, right, then go to the whole point of they believe that you shouldn't be using any util at all. To like, to hold your sight. And a lot of times what I find is that most of them want to do aim duels to try to hold a sight, and then they get overrun. And I think that part of it is you kind of have to do a mix of it. Maybe early on you use the utils to basically condition your opponents not to just rush out. And then you probably later rounds don't have to use as much utils, because at that point they're a little more careful or cautious about pushing out, which means that you can then do those duels, those aim duels, instead of relying on util all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that as well. Like, I think that's something not so Vertigo specific. Like, you're talking about conditioning, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about in general. Yeah, I'm talking about in general. Most players, just like I've had people play Vertigo, right? Play B site, don't even throw a single piece of util all game on CT side to basically deter, any kind of rush. And what happens is, all you hear is, "Oh, we lost B."
Yeah. No, I get that, but that's also, I mean, I think you and I were on the same page with everything, but just more so like, what you're mentioning now, like using your util early to condition and stuff like that, that's just not Vertigo specific, and that's why I'm not bringing it up in this lesson, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's the same on A as well, that you can say, okay, yeah, but if we block the rush really early with util and stuff, maybe condition and stuff. it's just like I agree with everything you say. Don't get me wrong. It's just more I don't I can't say like we could be talking for 100 hours, if I had to go through, because like also there's like a million pieces of utility everywhere I want to show.
No, but my point is, I'm saying some people don't even use any util at all because they just decide that they want to pick aim duels instead of using util as a means of like deterring like rushes, and I don't know why. They think that they can like shoot 5 people that quickly.
Yeah, but this is why I think we're on the same page, because I feel like that's kind of the basically the only thing I'm trying to teach in this 40-minute lesson, that I want people to be able to block efficiently on B and mid. That's the whole key to Vertigo. So like I'm exactly trying to teach people. I'm not just telling them you have to use utility on B. I'm trying to provide possibilities of how to use this utility on B, because that's, in my opinion, what's important. And like I get you. There are probably like I don't know exactly what elo you are, like what level you are, but I would say most people who are level 10, face it in EU for example, they will be at least using some grenades, but even these people will not maybe have the whole, let's call it, catalog of how to efficiently block these first 5-7 seconds. And that's exactly what I want to teach, because playing B, it should not be aim duels. Like, it should maybe be aim duels a little bit later in the rounds, but in the beginning, first 5, 7, 10 seconds, which is what the whole lesson is about basically, we need to dive deep about just how can he use his util, and what kind of possibilities are there just in general. Because one of the things I still have yet to show is everyone has probably seen like pros, if you watch Vertigo games, where they play close to danger, as it's called. And this is smart for 2 reasons. Depending on, again, kind of elo and level, you probably won't find this at the lower level, but what people will do is, as you can see when I step up on this thing, I get slightly higher. And so I will get a teammate to walk into me, I will jump up, crouch, and as I do this, I will have an angle that looks kind of like this. This allows me to peek default in a headshot angle, it allows me to peek this if someone is coming, it allows me to peek this, and it also allows me to jump up here and take the space quickly. That's why some people like to set danger, because you are holding this boost from kind of the only angle that is an off angle for the guy who gets boosted. And what it also allows you to get is this flash that I discussed, or like I mentioned earlier. If you get a flash in the back like this, this allows you to go and check this area. You can also jump up and check if you want, but this is way more risky. But it also allows you to, if we get this information on A early, like I discussed earlier as well, if we see that, okay, they're not in front of the smoke on A, then our mid player can come over and play B. And I will show you a bad lineup, I think. I'm not even sure how I did it. I'm showing you the bad lineup first on purpose, because I think one of you in this class probably has this lineup, and I want to show you exactly why this is a worse lineup than the one I'm going to show after. So I don't exactly remember how I even did this, but it was something about lining this up and aiming like this, I think. Very close. I think it's at the back. But basically lining this pill up and aiming like somewhere here in the middle. I don't know exactly how it was. But either way, the idea was that the flash goes down and it bounced off this and went down. And now this lineup is quite good, because what it accomplishes is it has a flash that pops right around here, and it lands down inside the lobby basically. At the beginning, when teams were flashing this, I think they were doing this kind of flash that would jump on the corner. And as you can see, this flash is really powerful if you're standing here on the back wall. There's very little chance to dodge it. But yeah, if only I could remember how I did this flash. It's really, really close. But just imagine that it bounces kind of like... bounces like... like that, well, imagine you can't really hear it before it shows up, but this is a much better flash when it lands down here, because it takes this guy over here, it takes anyone who's playing down in the B lobby. But the flash lineup that I've been taught recently, that I think is even better than this, is if you just go on this back wall, and it's very loose, what I do is I put this box in a way where I have a mini gap here. Now, the mini gap is important because it allows me to spot the information for my teammate. If I'm standing here and I'm holding the flash, and my teammate is danger holding like this, well, if a T walks up here and he sees the flash flying, he will maybe just go and peek the danger guy fast, because he knows, at least if it's a high elo player, he will know when he sees this flash that the guy is wanting to peek from danger on this flash. That's why by positioning myself like this and holding a mini gap, I will be able to tell my danger player if a T is coming up. I can swing to the side, and then we could potentially fight this guy together, like so. Or if the danger player is ready and I don't see anyone pushing up, I just aim to the top of this and I flash. This flash kind of accomplishes the same thing, except it doesn't bounce whatsoever. And I think also, I'm not sure if it's, I just remember there is a specific position where maybe it's something like, I don't know, I just remember there was a specific reason why this flash is landing better as well. Like there's one position that is quite key that doesn't get blinded. It might be something like this, where because it hits that corner and lands under the stair here, this guy is not blind, but maybe with this flash he is. I'm not quite sure. There was at least some reason for it. I guess the main reason for it, in my opinion, is the fact that you are able to do a flash that flashes down in B lobby while also holding info for your teammate. It's super simple lineup. You just go on a back wall, you aim up here, and you make sure you aim to the right of the wood, right? And by doing this, your teammate can jump up and he can check this area. He can kill anyone on the back wall. He can kill the guy who's down here. He can kill anyone who is anywhere here in B lobby. And this is also an alternative way to efficiently block the first 5 seconds. If you as B player start here, and you as mid player tell the rotation player, I'm going to start on B, I'm leaving mid open at the beginning, well, it means that the rotation player, he will wait for this information, and then he will do this while he's jiggling here. Like if he hears them rushing A, he will go A, and now he will say, okay, mid is open, watch out. And if he doesn't hear them here, well, then he can just he can go and do this, like first do the smoke we discussed, then he can do this flash, and then he could potentially go back to mid, and then he has got to be ready for them to be able to already be like in these areas. That's basically it. But this is a good way to efficiently block, because if the T's want to rush B, you can give this flash early, and this guy will just jump up. If you do a crouch jump while you run into it, you can jump up on top of it, and you instantly get stuck on it, so you have really good duels. And with this flash, anyone rushing will be absolutely destroyed. So, as long as you are able to do this, you are going to win. I want to just throw a number out there, but at the same time, it doesn't really make sense. I think Vertigo together with Nuke is my most won map in Faceit, and I play a ton of solo queue. The reason being that on most CT side maps, or at least a lot of CT side maps, the rotation from bomb site to bomb site is quite long for CT. Take Inferno, for example. If you're playing long and you have to rotate all the way through CT over to B, that's going to take you quite a substantial amount of time. Well, if you're A rotation and you're playing around connector and they come B now, all you have to do is basically run for like 3 seconds, and now you're able to help on B. That is why Vertigo is one of the easiest maps to solo carry. You can win a whole lot by setting up your team. All you gotta do is making them understand, make them understand that they just have to block on B and mid in the first 5, 7, 10 seconds. And if they manage to do this, your win rate on Vertigo will massively climb. I can absolutely promise you that. If you're able to do the smoke and do the flash, you can even ask for an extra flash dropped by your teammate here on the corner so that you are able to do this flash, and then you're still able to come over here and help your teammate. These kind of things are just going to win you so many more rounds and games, and that's why this is my top tip on Vertigo, basically, and yeah, why it's what I decided to do for the lesson today. Now, I will just do like 2-3 minutes before we do questions of me showing crazy utility. I will show it only once. Well, basically, I'll do it until I land it once. Just so you guys know what kind of utility is possible on Vertigo. And then if you guys want a utility session in the future, that's something we can do. And if you guys, I think it's cool, then you also know how much more you can learn on Vertigo. Because I think this is one of the maps where you can get the most creative in the entire game. Now, if you're running up B and you want to help your teammates but you don't have any flashes, I think if you aim here, jump throw, this is a Molotov that Molotov's Guardian. If you come over here and you see these 4 squares, you close the middle of them and you aim in the middle of this square, normal jump throw. This is a deep CT smoke that lands so that it kind of covers both sides, so it's uncomfortable for the CT to play in this area. It makes it so Elec can't do anything from here, and it also means they can't see anything from the right. You can obviously imagine pairing this up with the Guardian Molotov means that for the CTs it's basically full GG and they have to play retake. What's cool about this smoke is that it's re-smokable, so if you put your shoulder up on this, you aim bottom left of this box here. Oh, this is a re-smoke for deep. If you're standing here, you aim in the middle of the square. This is re-smokable. If you're over here, you aim up from this line, you aim up here, you take 1 running step. This is re-smokable from here. I feel like I had one more. I'm not quite sure. Doesn't really matter, but these are at least nades you can do. You can also Molotov Guardian like this. It can be a little bit annoying sometimes. You can Molotov like that. There's like this building in the distance. I think even if you do it a little bit further away, maybe you have to aim. I think it is this corner. That was a smoke. That's one example. You can also do like all these kind of freaky nades. The Molotov B side from here. That should burn basically all of B side. Yeah. You can actually also pair this up with a flash that goes in front of the Elec. There is also this flash. You aim just in the middle of the square, a little bit above. This goes out and pops out here. There is... let me see if I can actually even land this one, I'm not sure. No, I can't. It's pretty specific, it doesn't really matter. But also if you want to self-pop flash, you just bounce it. Goes up and pops here. Takes most positions. Over towards A, there's also so much nice utility. If you're rotating from B, you can flash over A side like this. You can flash through this window. You can, if you're here, you can aim like this. This is a flash that lands, you can peek with it. No way in hell the T's dodge this flash. Yeah, I showed this flash earlier. Guess I'll just show. I think you can come here. You can aim on this. Jump throw. The smoke can take a while, but it re-smokes ramp. You can go here, double click, jump throw flash on this. It's perfect flash to peek. At least it should be, unless they change the lineup. Yeah, that was just some examples of things you can actually do on this map. Yeah. So Vertigo is a map where having really good utility is something that can set you quite a bit above the rest of the players on the server. And it's a map where if you get really good map understanding and get really good at using utility, you can do basically anything. It's just a really cool map. I'll show you one last trick and then we'll do some questions. Probably you all know this one in bottom right. This Molotov's headshot. But the guy can just step back and play in this area. Well, if you do it like this, you go in this corner, you aim here, you jump up and crouch, and then you do normal jump throw. The Molotov lands, so it burns up, and it burns all the way back. And now he has to go all the way back CT, where he's visible to your orb. Anything is possible on Vertigo with util. Pretty much anything. Even I think this smoke had some use at some point. It's just about getting creative, and if you get good at utility on Vertigo, good at understanding when to use what and what needs to be used to take what space, and having a wide array of lineups that you can use in a match, well then your win rate on Vertigo, together with what I just explained about the seed side Vertigo, will boost your win rate massively. And yeah, I think you guys should try it out. So guys, any questions? I know I've been just firing away for like 55 minutes now.
I've just got a quick one about mid. Once you've thrown the util initially, still in the early round, what's the best, or like what do you usually hold?
So, I still would say I'm not a fan of playing like out of this space. Anything over towards Guardian is, in my opinion, good. There are many good angles to play. Like, I would probably not recommend this as a mid player, but you can play like this. You can check boost as well. This is more like an AWP angle, but you could try with rifle, like an AUG, for example. Some people like to play this because you kind of have, like, you have advantage here since the sandbags kind of blocks your head. It can be really powerful. You can also like check just sandbags on timing, because the way that T's will walk is they will walk and they will look this way, and then as they go up, now you can see the only counter to this. I do this sometimes with like MP9 and I want to take like a risk, or maybe I have a deal or something like this. The only counter to this is obviously if they boost, they come up here, they will see you sitting here and they will just kill you. But if you know you're playing against people who don't boost that much, I mean, something like this could even be a thing. And then if your air rotation, like I said, gets contact, you can peek up, you have headshot angles. Some people like to play this off angle as well, where you're kind of above the sandbag, but yeah. You can also just, I think you can even jiggle like this, and if you like get contact, you can fall down and like go and play in this space, and go up on this as well, and hold here. So if they run through, you can kill them. You can also help the A split. One thing that is also possible, for example, if you jiggle here and you get contact, you can fall back. You can, if your A rotation is close, just bounce any flash like this and swing with it from this side, while the A rotation swings with it from this side, and you can clear mid together. This is also super strong. There are also, I don't know if this angle, yeah, this angle still exists, so you can hold this where you get kind of safe info from if the T is pushing. Only thing is, I think if the T is like crouching up here, you will not see him in the gap. I think if he's standing, you might, I'm not sure. But at least, like if the T's are coming out this way, then you will get contact. I mentioned also this angle, where you play headshot angle against the boost. And I think even some people play, I want to say there's some other angle that I'm missing right now. But yeah, maybe even people play like this, I don't know. But yeah, this is like a ton of good angles you can play. And if you decide, for example, that you don't want to use your Molotov in middle, like early, you can also just play Guardian at the start of the round, jiggle, and if you get contact, you just drop this Molotov, go back here, you dodge flash. If they turn this Molotov off and they want to go through it, they probably go through the flash, but as they are dropping down, they will naturally look towards the B side, and it's just easy for you to come here and kill them as they're dropping through. So yeah, as mid player, the world is your oyster. Yeah, brain and monkey, literally. Just, if you manage to do this, or you're jiggling from here at the start of the round, this will always buy you those 5-7 seconds. Like, if you die by doing this, because some guy peeks and you don't fall back in time, that is so extremely unlucky and unlikely. And if you play with a Molotov like this, well, you can Molo it, and then if the T's are good, maybe what they say is, oh, they Molotov Guardian, okay, let's try to A-split instead. And that's when you then wanna, I don't know, come to this position and maybe do this flash like I discussed, where you swing with your A-rotation player. But yeah.
Say for example, you transition from the mid player into the safe player out of the safe danger player setup on B, and you play back towards Jenny or back aside. Yeah, back here.
Yeah.
Where do you usually hold?
So like, just I need to understand. Like, let's say I give up mid at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I go back to, and I'm playing in this area. You're saying? Over.
Like whereabouts do you where do you play?
Oh, so yeah, okay, yeah. So it kind of depends on where my B player is playing. Like if you see he's playing danger, for example, I wanna be baiting for him, because if I can play in a way where I can take first contact, and not die, this means that if they want to try and catch me, they will be running like this, and then my guy danger has 3 kills. This also allows, again, this flash from the A rotation, and this flash also will allow me to peek from here. Like, I can stand, and I can peek with my danger player. Yeah, I don't know, I could even play some ready angle like this. I would say even if you are the mid player, you can play on B as a joker. What I mean by joker is like an extra man. So if your B player, for example, is not playing danger, but he's playing default, what I will sometimes as mid player do is I will just try to early round cross to quad and hide. So that if they decide to go for like an early B execute or early B contact with flashes, I am in an unexpected position on quad. And yeah, I think these are like the main positions you wanna be playing.
Yeah. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm happy you asked, man. One small thing before the next question as well, I want to show you guys. Some of you are probably putting your shoulder up on this and aiming like... Is it like here? No, it's a little bit higher.
That's more on the yellow thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this will... I think, actually, you gotta stand on the arrow, right? I don't use this lineup, that's why I don't know it. I think it's like that. This Molotov... I might have shown it to you before, I'm not sure, but this Molotov will make it so the CT can still play behind the pillar. He can hold like this and hide, so if he gets flashed, it's fine. He can also sit like this and hide, so if he gets flashed, it's fine. No one can kill him from the teeth. That's why a much better lineup for this Molotov is you go one step up, or maybe like 1.5, and you aim on this. Like, can you see there's like this white line? Just go a little bit up. You don't need to look at the steps. Just like have the feeling of going up. You aim here. You jump throw. This Molotov will go over. And as you can see, it still burns all of default, but it pushes him out in a position where he's far more vulnerable from any flash.
Could you show that again? Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just show both real quick. Like this one. The difference here is that he can, like it lands here, and he can now play behind this pillar and hide from all angles. And then I get a ton of kills like this. When he gets out of blind, you can swing and peek wide, and they expect this to be clear, right? But if you just go here, there's really nothing hard. Just hold your gun. Okay, you don't see, okay, I'm up now. Then you just do, like, this white line. Top of it. Jump throw. And this Molotov, it will push the default player. Like, it will still burn the same. It will burn him, if you see. I don't want to go here because I will die because I'm 2 HP. But it will burn him out to the point where he has to be... standing all the way back here, where as you can see, any flash will take him, and if the T's are coming up, I mean, if this guy's blind sitting here, he's just dead any day of the week. Whereas if the guy is sitting here instead and able to hide from all angles, you likely will overlook him, because as a T, you check this, okay, you don't see, now you swing out, and now he's actually here, and getting unblind, you know? And then you can peek. Or you can take this angle. Like, it's, yeah, dangerous. So, definitely use the second Molotov. It's far better. Any other questions, guys? I mean, if there aren't any questions, yeah, I mean, you guys can still think about questions if you have anything. Otherwise, I will just see if I can come up with something interesting to say for a few minutes, and if then there are no questions, then we can end the session. I guess I will teach you guys this nade. It's quite useful if you're playing B. Just go middle of this pillar. Again, doesn't need to be perfect, just put your shoulder up on it. You see the circle in this corner, jump throw. This nade goes over and pops on white, like Snappy. And the same thing can be done with the Molotov. This will be enough that it pushes him out of position. And in fact, it also takes behind double stack. So this is quite good. Let me see. Maybe I can even remember. Was it like this? No, wait, sorry. Hang on. I think we had like a retake set in one of my teams where we just check the smoke. But not like that. You get stuck here, and then the smoke would land kind of like this to smoke off the left side, so you can always cross a CT. This is not really anything that gives you an angle. Obviously, the T's can go up in this headshot angle. Because of this, we had a lineup. I think it was like this. No. I think maybe I'm confusing two things, because I feel like the lineup was like this with Molotov. Yeah, it definitely was this Molotov lineup. So yeah, we definitely had the smoke from here. I think it was... yeah, I actually don't even know anymore. I will just try to find it here real quick. Because this was actually quite a nice retake set. I think the lineups have changed also a little bit for CS2. But this works. So basically something like this. And then by aiming here in the middle of the sandbag laying down and take one walk step and molo. This goes over and burns like this. So no one can go like immediately through the smoke. I think even we had it so this guy can't peek. So the AWP can't hold here, and he also cannot come out and help. And then I think from the same position, we had like a... I don't know if it was this lineup, but basically like a flash that landed behind this E-box. And yeah, maybe something like slow walk like this. That would probably do the trick. So yeah, I don't even know what I did anymore really. But I think it was something like that. Like this. And like this. Close enough. But then pair this with this flash, and what you had was a situation where the T's can't peek you here. They cannot be up on the double stack. They cannot peek you from Snappy, and the AWP can't hold any easy angles. Then the flashes come in, and basically the guy who's playing behind quad, which happens a lot, or the guy who is playing side, they are now going to be completely overrun. I showed the Molotov lineup earlier, but this also works with an HE. So if you aim like this... Actually, that doesn't work at all. Yeah. Oh, wait, sorry. The lineup I was thinking about was this one. So you come here and you can just bounce on this. You can do it with a sneak step. And that's even better. You can also do the Molotov like this. But basically, you can do this nade as you're retaking. And you isolate the people who are playing out E-box side quad. Then when you press the bomb, it gives you a lot of options in the like, let me just try to do the smoke again. It gives you quite a few options in the clutch as well, because the smoke landing like this means you can tap the bomb, you can go up here, you can play headshot angle. You can check like to smoke like this, so if the guy is coming up here and wants to spam the smoke, then he has to be pretty far out, and you can go up and play like this. And if he's not here, you can also go up here, and you can maybe see him waiting here or something. You can spam him through this. So kind of cool retake set. I think you can definitely find some better lineups than I have right now, because they are a little bit messed up. Maybe you can even do a jump throw forward. Actually, kind of works. But yeah, I think you get the idea. Pretty cool.
I have one more question just about
yeah,
holding B. If you're playing the danger spot on B early round, and you throw a Molotov to stop their rush. They don't throw a smoke. That doesn't really happen in my elo.
Yeah.
Do you follow up with a HE, or do you sort of just save it?
I think it kind of depends on what you are expecting, because if you would throw like just this Molotov, for example, that I talked about earlier.
That's the one I throw.
Yeah, okay. Then if they don't turn it off, well, either you will hear them burning and running through it, and in that case, you could potentially be like right around here, and if you hear them burning, then just throw a nade like this and fight.
Oh, sorry. I'll be more clear.
Okay, sorry.
What I mean is, no, my bad. So you throw that molly, and then if you go up to the wood and jump over the wood and throw a HE down into B main.
Oh, like this, yeah.
Or whatever you call it in EU.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Sometimes I've started doing that recently, and it's sort of working well, or it helps with conditioning. But I think also at times, like when other rounds happen, or if I'm rotating, I'm like, fuck, I wish I had more util.
Yeah, I get that.
So I'm sort of, that's like my question. Is it maybe just a conditioning thing, or?
I think like this HE can be quite good in the event that, like, let me show you my thoughts. So like if a CT does this Molotov and I'm B and I'm not using my smoke, I will always cross and I will try to get to here to stop the push, right? So this HE will land very far behind. But the way I see this HE being quite useful is if you Molotov this and you do the HE, and in this round they have an AWP starting here. Well, now it's massive damage, right? So I think if they play AWP a lot on T side and he likes to peek B a lot, this is maybe something you can try. Because one, it blocks the aggro push from the T's, but it also kind of does 50 damage to the AWP. But otherwise, I would say stick to one of them, because I think the idea, like why teams do this nade, I actually don't know if they, like, do they do it left click or do they do it double click? I don't know even. I would say double click me.
When you fall down, or like when you're downwards on the jump.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that makes sense. So like, I think the reason why CTs do this grenade, it's because exactly what I said. When I am the T, if I use a smoke or if I don't use a smoke, I will always be here when the nade pops. Like either I'm crossing or I am about to go through my smoke. So the timing of the nade works when you do it as the first piece of your util, but when you do it as like when you do the Molotov first and then you want to do the nade, I think it matters less. But if there's an AWP there, I've been in that situation myself, then it fucking blows when the guy's doing that. But yeah, you gotta have a feeling for that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Also, I don't know if you guys have seen this. I also don't know how useful it is in CS2, but I've seen in the past teams starting 2B, and then the first guy who runs here, he will throw a flash that bounces in here. And the idea of this flash is that when the T comes in, he wants to fight this, he will be blind by this flash. So like as he's coming in, boom, now the flash pops.
That is amazing. That's so good.
Yeah,
some of this stuff seems so obvious.
Then you can come and fight with it.
That's unreal.
It seems obvious when you've seen it. I know some people do it a little bit differently as well, where they will come here, and I think they do like but like they will just run out here, and then they will do like I feel like I've seen people do like the flash here as well, because then it lands more to this side, and it's even more in the view. Like if you just peek this, for example, you will get taken by this flash, but not this flash. So yeah, it's there's many things you can do. I'll show one more trick or two here. If you jump up here, just go on the corner and you aim on the top right of the red. This is a flash that should, so long as I light it up correctly, blind the guy who's playing Jenny. And this means...
Just left click?
Yeah, just regular left click. This makes it so if someone's playing out here, one, you could potentially fight him if it's like a setup. Otherwise, you can cross on it. Like just doing this flash makes it so that the guy no longer knows if you pushed into ladder or not. And he has to call that you could be ladder. This is quite interesting. I think, though, if he holds a very tight angle, like I've seen people in the past play like a really pixel angle, and in that case, I think the flash doesn't quite make it far enough. I'll show you one last move, and yeah, this is just, I think, my favorite AWP move on Vertigo. I've kind of invented it myself. Like I have it from CSGO, but I found my own smoke. So as I'm coming over here, I will underhand a smoke, and the goal is to land it in this corner. If you do this, what it does is the smoke pops like this, and it doesn't seem that great, but it makes it so I can peek left side of the smoke. Like I can cross this angle and peek left side of the smoke. And what it does for this guy is when he sees the smoke, he can no longer hold the mist cross from back here. So what he naturally does to still keep the ladder room info is he will swing out and hold an angle where his entire body is visible. And if you then peek this with an AWP, I mean, it's GG. If he's here, you kill him. And what some people do as well, this is what I just mentioned, they will hold like a really tight pixel angle. If you peek this with AWP as well, you will get this kill. Like, I promise you. It's like it's an AWP peek you can do once per match, and as soon as you've done it once, the guy probably won't fall for it again, but it means you can throw like this smoke, and he is too afraid. Like, he doesn't know if you're ladder room the entire round, basically. So, really, really cool.
That's
you
awesome.
Basically, yeah, you nullify the advantage he has in his headshot angle, and you peek him with AWP in a way where he has no chance. So, yep. Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Thanks for your help this morning. That was great.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. If you guys have any requests for future sessions, you can just say it. If anyone has like a question that they wanna throw in before the session ends, then now is the time. Otherwise,
This is my first one. Oh, sorry, you go.
Yeah.
I was to say I have one question, and sorry if this was
Well,
already answered. I joined a
fine.
bit late.
Mhm.
Is Vertigo similar to Anubis on CT side, where the main goal of CTs is just going to be blocking rather than taking map control, like Inferno Banana?
Yes, I would say somewhat yes. Like, you want to own this area, like that we discussed. If you own this area as CT, it's far better. But taking deep A control is something that I have seen in the past. I don't know if this lineup exactly works, but there was a lineup where you, I think, went out from this and on here, and then you aimed on this P, and you took a running step or something. I almost had it. Let me try it once more. Maybe it's slow walking. Yeah. So this was a way to smoke this, where... Actually, I think it is run through. I think my lineup is just bad. Maybe it's even like this. But either way, it was a way where you could take the deep control by bouncing it here and hitting the back wall, and it landing like this. And then you could combine it with like a Molotov in front of the box like this. And now you basically have all the space. Like, the guy can only be here. That's an example of a aggro move on A where you want to take the full space. I've also seen moves where people do like... they don't really do ramp smoke. I think instead the guy who comes here, he does... I actually don't even really know the lineup, but some people have some crazy ass lineup where the smoke goes through here and it bounces in and lands like down. I'm not sure how they throw it exactly. But then I've done it with previous teams. Again, I don't know the lineup in CS2 because lineups have changed, but you can get actually a flash to bounce on the underside of this and go down and pop here. So if the T's go on this side early, and they are like holding gap or whatever, they will get blind by this flash. And anyone who wants to try and come and help, they will get blind by this flash as well. So what the CT does is he will smoke like middle of gap, like the smoke will land something like this. Then he will get these flashes, and then we run through the smoke on the flash, and he will peek this guy. And kill him, and then, you know, potentially can just do, I don't even know really a perfect lineup, but you could probably learn this if you want to. Like, you can bounce and smoke like this, and then potentially follow up with a motor like this, and you get the same. This is possible, but it's rare, and that's why, yeah, I definitely think rotations and utility usage and blocking is priority on Vertigo, just like Anubis. So yeah, that's a really cool question. I'm happy you asked it.
Awesome. Thanks a bunch.
No problem, man. And I think someone else also had a question. I want to do that question and then call it for the day.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask. This is my first one. Do you usually just do like map by map each day with a different like CT side or T side? How are the lessons usually structured?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. So basically, I just do what I feel like doing. I also take requests, basically. I don't know if you're familiar with who I am, but I have some like experience in the professional scene. So it's like I would say I'm able to do a coaching lesson of basically anything, freestyling it, like a full CT side talking about my thoughts and stuff is something I know because I have 15,000 hours and I've been doing this for the last 10 years full time, right? And so I've had some sessions where it's like, now this was vertical CT side. We've done Anubis CT side where we go through each position. We had nuke CT rotations. So I think a lot of the time CT is something that's really important to get right. T can be a little bit more on feeling, but CT, CT is fully on feeling basically. And I also like last session, I don't know, my game is full bugging now. Maybe it looks weird on the video as well. But either way, basically what I did last session was a team demo review of one of my friends. And we've also had an individual point of view review of a student. And we've also covered like one of the sessions was a theory, a Counter-Strike 2 theory I have that I call pressure lines. So I went through the whole theory and explained my thoughts behind it. So really, the sessions can be anything. I think we also at some point did key utility on Mirage, stuff like this. The sessions can be anything, but going through the maps one at a time,
A recommendation, I don't know how keen anyone else would be on this sort of stuff, but I'd love to like learn about things like the whole like pressure points and where to hold and like how to adapt, that sort of stuff. Like I think like that's probably the way that I would take my game to the next level.
Yeah,
I think being like in sport, more present and sort of like mentally present, paying more attention, learning pressure points. Like I know there's obvious pressure points, but I think like being able to adapt and learn them and stuff, I reckon that would be cool.
I think I think also I would also like to add like maybe we could have a lesson like reactive thinking.
Yeah.
Reactive thinking, yeah. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea for a lesson.
Because like let's say you're like focused on like playing. Like this is a thing I had a demo review with someone. And they really said that I lacked reactive thinking, and you know, like let's say a flashbang goes off that my teammate uses, I don't really acknowledge it, but you know, I'm just still there anchoring, and I'm just tunnel vision, and I'm wondering if like having a lesson on reactive thinking and being able to use that would be like a good lesson. I think reactive thinking is, I think the mental side of the game, in some ways just kind of adds all of these physical things together. Like, you know, math theory is great and all, but like, you know, there's how, you know, we're learning how to do it, but what about how to apply it? You know, how to react to it.
Yeah. You know? I think we would probably have to do it map by map, because I think if we do just like reactive thinking as like an overall thing, it will be...
I think, you know, I think we could have a section, you know, we do math theory constantly. I think we could have a section on the math theory where like reactive thinking and scenarios, etc. I think that'd be great to go over as well.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea.
I feel like that would also take my game to the next level. Maybe get base to level 7 soon.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. That's a really good idea. I will write that down somewhere, and if you can also remind me, then I'm sure that I won't forget.
I DM you it?
Yeah, but also when we get, like if it's the, you know, like on Wednesday or something like this, if you just send me a DM, there's a bigger likelihood that I remember. Or just tell me at the start of the session, I'll make sure to adapt to it, right?
Okay.
But yeah.
I'll write it down. I feel like, you know, that would be a great thing to go over, because it'll definitely help everybody of all levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I second that.
I agree. Yeah, let's definitely do that. I love that idea. It's really good.
Thank you, Nato.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm here to please, guys. I'm here to teach you as much as I can. And I think, yeah, I think for me the hardest thing a lot of the time is actually just figuring out what is the topic of the session. Because like, really, I can talk about anything. We can do demo reviews. We can do a million things. But sometimes it's hard to come up with like a good topic. The guy with the, because I have like streamer mode on, so I don't really see the full names, but you had like an Australian accent or something like this. I guess it's
me.
biking. Yeah. If you check the general chat here in the academy, I've linked the pressure lines CS2 theory
Sick. Yeah.
of my like second channel, and you can just scout through this second YouTube channel, and you will see the classes we've had recently as well. There's some things that are map specific and some things that are more overall. So, if
awesome.
Yeah,
that's a huge help, mate. Thank you.
No problem, man. And guys, I have to go and drive my girlfriend to work tomorrow in a little under 7 hours. I have to wake up, so I think I will go.
No worries, mate.
Yeah.
See you later.
All right. Yeah, no problem, guys. Always nice that you're here, and have a wonderful day.
You as well.
Yep, see ya.